I think we both see ourselves as underdogs all the time. Even when we started seeing success, I think there's that comes through of, okay, what do I have to do different? What do we have to improve upon? This wasn't good enough. If we didn't win, what did we do wrong?
Ella, you're really high. You're our 6, Ella.
Jay, start coming this way.
And I think for me, you add in a piece of my personality, and I'm married to a counselor, so I get told all my great attributes and my not so great ones. But I am counterphobic by nature. And if you tell me I can't do something like, hey, don't jump off that cliff, I'm probably already off. Lauren's also a risk taker. And you put the two of us together, we've always just kind of ready, fire, aim.
So that was based on positioning. Ella was all the way up here.
Even that ability to walk into games where we were clearly the underdog and to embrace it. How do you put it out there when maybe you don't have everything you wish you did? It meant you weren't worried about how it looked. You weren't worried about, did we play pretty soccer, in the state cup final against Rush when they were going to be so much prettier than us? How do we get the job done? That's something that I bring to this club. I bring that kind of nature. I wasn't a professional player. Lauren he played against Gerd Mueller when he was 17, when Jamaica played West Germany. I mean, our differences have really played well. That doesn't mean we don't butt heads, sometimes quite heatedly, but I think our intention is always the same, is we want what's best for Real. Probably most importantly, you have a club that reflects two people who have been here for a long time, and it's personal for me. My name is Jared Spires. I am the Chief Executive Officer for Real Colorado. I've been here since '97 with a brief break to coach at Vanderbilt University from 2004 to 2006. Real Colorado was very fortunate from the very beginning that we had a really young demographic. And when you talk about opportunity in sports, you've got to have numbers, you've got to have financial ability, and you've got to have really good people. And we were very fortunate that in our community was the Colorado Rush, which at the time was almost untouchable compared to the rest of the country. And our goal was never to beat the Rush, but we also saw what they were doing successfully, what we thought we could mirror, and what we could do maybe better. And when we talk about risk-taking, it's stepping into those places to say they might be the best in the world, or at least in the United States. What can we do differently than them to challenge it, being in a different community? We happened to really kind of fall into people that were excellent at what they did, liked being part of the team we had created. And then when we looked for pieces to fill, we always looked for people that were a little different than us.
The 9 usually sets the line of confrontation, so if we're defending this side, Sprinks, it's at the top of the arc on the other side, 70 yards. Okay, when we're at 100, it's at 100 yards where we're meeting them. We got it?
My name is April Cater. My role at the club is Club Development Director, and I'm entering my 4th season with Real. I coached collegiately for 22 years, full-time, and I transitioned into the U.S. Soccer Federation full-time in 2013. And I was already based in Colorado, so I was very familiar with Real and the success and the tradition of the club. When I was working with the Federation full-time, naturally, elite players in Real were coming into our youth national team camps. And being based in Denver, I had consistent communication with the top clubs in the market, and Real being one of the very top clubs. So established a relationship, was familiar with Lauren, Jared, Lyle, coaches that have been with the club for decades, which is always a really good sign. The commitment level, the consistency, and the success kind of go hand in hand. But really, my heart is in Colorado. I love Colorado. And because I was working with our youth, primarily the U14s and the U15s on the national side, transitioning into the club platform full-time was really my goal. I had multiple conversations with Real. They were all really positive, and when they offered me a position, I had to take it. I couldn't say no. I was super excited, nervous because of the experience and success of the coaches. But it also drew me because that consistency and longevity is a sign of a healthy atmosphere and culture. They treat their staff and their customers well, and they keep improving. from a college perspective, a youth national team coach perspective, and now being here, just seeing the growth with the club over the last 2 decades, when I've been in Colorado has been super impressive. Like, my transition was smooth, probably not because of me, but because of the people that are here and how they treat you. So I felt like I was part of the family from the first week I arrived. There's a pride that goes with this logo. I see the pride in the people that work here that aren't even on the field. Almost 90% of our admin staff have been here for 15 plus years. That's unbelievable. Knowing that I'm representing an organization that I'm proud to represent, but I highly believe in, it's about relationships. It's not just about relationships with the players, it's the parents, it's the admin. That transcends to every time we step on the field. It's not as much a job as it is a journey, and we enjoy it.
So listen, I'm looking for a one-time serve, so the ball needs to play them in. So Jojo, you're just gonna make a run that's timed. It's played, rolled across to the PK spot, you spin out and finish. Okay, we can just kind of walk through this.
My name's Lyle LeBeer. I'm the technical director on the girls' side of the club. I run the ECNL programs and basically all our girls' side. When I first started this club in 2004, we were definitely behind, but kind of up and coming. The reason why I think we've had our success and how we really got started is, really it starts with Lauren. Lauren started getting coaches that had a lot of playing experience, that either they played at the highest levels professionally. For him, he just had so many connections that he started getting the guys that he coached to come coach at his club. And those coaches could demonstrate. They understood the game. They understood what it took at the highest level. Obviously, the players that we have too and the athletes that we've attained being in this area, but just starting to find coaches that Lauren understood, knew how to teach the game. I really think that made a huge difference with the staff we acquired and Lauren's connection to those former players or great coaches that weren't players. Lauren has a saying, I gotta make sure I say it right. We
train to develop. Because I hear this, bull crap all the time when we talk about the difference between winning and development. And I know I sit down and I have a lot of discussion with US soccer people. It's a fine line between winning and development, okay? In the club business, if you don't win, the players are gonna leave, so you're not gonna develop. So you gotta figure out, okay, how you're gonna do it. So I always tell my coaches, you train to develop. It might be windy, it might be snowy, it might be whatever. You can't play the football you want to play. So you got to switch. You got to figure out how you're going to win the game. We know the World Cup, whatever it is, MLS or Champions League, sometimes it's not the most beautiful football. We train our kids they have to develop. And hopefully they can apply that to the game. But if it's not happening, can you win also? Because that's life, And I always use Serena Williams. When she was 10-year-olds playing on Tiger Wood, they're playing to win. And then they correct what they need to correct while they mature. Her backhand wasn't good, so she improved her backhand. I don't see football as different. So you train to develop, and the mentality, how do you win?
I think winning has to be part of any culture that is competitive. And I think so often we're seeing a shyness from talking about winning, from talking about being competitive. Competitive is the attribute to try to win. And I think for us, we've never shied away from defining winning as an important attribute, as a principle. There are certain competitions that you identify to say, hey, we're trying to win this. Learning to fail is part of success. And if you're not trying to win something, how do you know if you failed?
So when I got involved, a lot of the kids, they know me, people know me, because I say a lot of the coaches who are coaching youth club actually play professional ball here, and they stayed and they're coaching in these clubs. It was about 2 years in, people were seeing more than I am seeing. I'm so much into it that people from the outside see what's happening. They see the change. They can feel the energy. The coaches were vibrant. There's young people coming in. Everybody wants to be with Real. Our first championship team was against Tom Stone team. Tom Stone team was #1 in the country. We actually got to the final. We ended up winning the State Cup championship. Obviously, Tommy wasn't happy, And I remember to this day, Tom said to me, hey, Lauren, all your girls doing is playing kickball. And I said, damn, Tommy, we just kick it in your goal. So what's the L? That just kind of catapulted everything. And people started to say, this club is for real.
We have fantastic people, and fantastic people will lead to attracting fantastic players, developing the ones that you have, and creating that kind of winning culture. You know, I think when you talk about the highest level of a player, you know, number one, they're born with so much of that talent. So the first requirement of a club is don't chase them away from the game. A Tajon Buchanan, a Mallory Pugh, they are fast, they are powerful, they understand sport. They were gifted with a talent that, number one, we couldn't screw up. Number two is we had to teach them to love the game so that they were willing to put in the time and effort to not just depend on their talent. Mallory Pugh, Janine Becky, they were going to be great at any level, but were they willing to refine their craft? Were they willing to love the game enough to spend those hours doing the stuff that they didn't need to be successful at the club level, but they would need to be successful at the next level, whether that was the U.S. national team or, in Janine's case, the Canadian national team. You have to maintain that distance so that you can talk to them about where they can improve. But you recognize at the end of the day, if Mallory was born in Texas, she'd probably still be on the U.S. national team because she had that type of talent. The next part of that is not being so enamored that you're not willing to coach. But we've always stuck to, we know kind of what the development pathway looks like, and it's worked for us. And then I think the final piece is recognizing those opportunities that they get are things that we're supposed to support and celebrate. This was the player's accomplishment and not ours. You know, when you have players that have gone on to do amazing things, that relationship is built by the stories. Janine Becky, she scored the fastest goal in women's history in the Olympics. This is a kid we moved down from the first team to the second team. How amazingly, number one, her mom took it, you know, to have this conversation, to be willing to trust us that this was what was right for her. Not to have any idea what she was going to turn into, it was just what was right for her. And then to see her kind of go all the way through it. And she makes the Canadian team, and then she misses that PK, and she's getting destroyed. And for her to really accept responsibility and really do it in such an amazingly graceful way, and then to come back to Real Colorado with her Olympic gold medal, that was cool. She was not a first-team player for Real Colorado, let alone an international stud that would go on playing for Man City and the Canadian national team and Olympics. And what an amazing story she's had, you know. And you look at Mallory Pugh. I always got, when did you know? When did you know she was? Well, I knew she was the best 12-year-old I'd ever coached. I knew she was the best 14-year-old I'd ever seen. And when she scored the goal for the U.S. national team, we kind of said, yeah, she's there. The difference between a great player and a player who makes the U.S. national team is just razor thin. And so to see her kind of dip for a while where she really wasn't even getting called in, you know, that's someone I knew personally. You know, to see her recognized now as, you know, one of the players competing to score the most goals in the NWSL, and she's a solid player now on the U.S. national team. And, oh, she's regaining all the publications now who are so excited about her. You're like, yeah, whatever. You know, she was a stud the whole time. She just, like most of us, they have moments where we're not as great, and we got to see those, you know. But did I ever know? Not till she scored a goal for the U.S. national team. Then you go, yep, she's pretty good.
Mason, you'll be in the middle with Emma and Jaya. Gwen, you'll hold with Kate. Then Bella, Selena. Casey's gonna go up high, and then Raleigh and JoJo are on the outside, okay? Then Leah, you'll go first and goal. Hopefully they'll be done in a second. We can just get out there and knock it around a little bit.
Things that are important to us is winning a championship is huge for us, and we won one this year, and it means a lot to us just because we all put in so much time and so much work, and we're in Colorado. There's some states that are bigger than us. Besides winning championships and doing well and being ranked in the top 5, top 10 like we have been, producing great players is something that's really big to us. So when we look through our age groups as a staff, we talk about, hey, who's that next Mal Pugh? Who's that next Sophie Smith? Or who's that next player? And how can we get them there? Because that's something we really want to continue to be known for, is producing great players. really number one is college. I mean, we can talk about those exceptional players that play in the pros, and we hope we get a couple every year. Even last year, our first 2 teams in the ECNL, they're all committed somewhere. And when that's done, we all just look at each other and smile. I mean, that's the ultimate goal, is saying, hey, how can we got 2 more. We got 2 more kids we got to get into college. We got to get a scholarship for them. And so those things are something that we really value as well.
Thankfully, Real is one of the best clubs in the country, year in and year out. So we're working with elite players that are very committed, which is fun. With that, you have a little bit more flexibility to dive deeper when it comes to video, to dive deeper when it comes to tactics, to nuances, to tweaking things. So we don't have a rigid script. We do have a philosophy, we do have a mission, we do have a vision, and when we see that vision may be lacking in certain areas, we're not afraid to address it or coach up each other. We know that it's about development, it's about relationships, and ultimately if those things are going well, then we're getting the results. Video doesn't lie, and I tell the players that all the time. If you think you didn't perform well, go back and watch video, because odds are you did some things better than you think. And if you think you were Alex Morgan that game, please go back and watch, because odds are you'll notice areas in the game or moments where, oh, I should have made that choice, or I wish I had executed there. Sport shouldn't be a one and done, just the experience. You want to go back and relearn and revisit, and Hudl gives us the platform to do that at ease. I have my players do playlists after each game, where they just take 8 clips and they put a playlist together and they send it to me, and they have to comment on each clip to just see the growth of how they're watching video, what their takeaways are, and what they're learning. And I think that's super important. Whether it's completely accurate or not, it's the tool that's allowing them to grow with the game, which I think is really valuable. Good coaches debrief themselves, but I'm debriefing all the time, like how would I tweak that session, size of grid, timing, restrictions, objectives, did I see those objectives come out in a session? I think the players will start to analyze more and not be afraid to debrief on their performance. The other part about clipping is we're teaching them how to create highlights, which is key in this day and age for college exposure. 99% of college platforms dive deep with video and analysis. So if we're not educating them on how valuable that is and how to do it now, then in a way, we're not doing our job to prepare them for the next level.
I mean, it's hard to win a championship. I mean, we only have really 3 big ones. As long as we've done this, there's a lot of soccer clubs out there and a lot of good players and a lot of good teams.
I think you're always looking for that next opportunity to win or to challenge. You know, a national championship is kind of the culmination of a lot of hard work and some luck.
And just having us, Real Colorado, when they say, here's the U13 ECNL champ, 14, 15, 16, 17s, and 19s, having us be one of them, yeah, that's one of the most rewarding moments I've had in a long time.
You know, I think what we've maintained is an understanding of the value each of our staff members bring. I mean, that was Lauren's team. You know, he did what Lauren does. He got them ready, they were prepared, they were an excellent team, but he had an amazing opportunity to coach the Jamaican women's team. And what that really demonstrated is what we all knew, is that we have a staff that can step in.
Now, here am I coaching the girls, preparing them, okay? And I'm in Seattle with the girls, and then I gotta tell them, okay, I'm done. Jared, April, Lyle, and these guys will take over, you know? It's hard to leave them. I think that make a big difference for them, that they realize, you know what, Jamaica is here and I'm coming, but they understand this is also the World Cup.
It was the same language, it was the same motivation, it was the same passion, it was the same interaction, you know, with the players, because we do that all the time. So I think for the team, it probably didn't seem any different other than it missed Lauren's flair, you know, but we did things the way that Lauren would want to see them done. And that's really an establishment of the culture that him and I have brought to Real Colorado since 1997.
It's fantastic that Lauren is coaching Jamaica. It's great for the club, great for his growth. The timing was challenging, but that, again, that's a sign of a well-experienced staff and integrated staff where we didn't skip a beat. So it was a collection. Like, we would look over at every opponent and be like, okay, there's their coach, here's our committee. This is great.
We stayed in touch, we communicated. You know, they would send me a video, I would look at video, I would watch the games. So I felt like I was there. When they won the championship in the morning, if we beat 80 in the evening, Jamaica qualified for the World Cup. So in less than 8 hours or 10 hours, okay, both can happen. So you start thinking, you said, I feel the vibes. You know, positive vibration, as Bob Marley would say. The vibration was there, okay, it's gonna happen. I had no doubt in my mind that they're gonna win.
It just felt like a club championship. I know sometimes when it's your team as a coach, you're like, hey, that's my team, I won. But this one just felt like it was for everybody, and it was a really good feeling.
And some of them knew about it, because some of them, you know, they follow the stuff. And say, okay, we're gonna do the double. We're gonna take care of business. So I had no doubt in my mind that we're gonna go out and we're gonna take care of 80. And that's all that happened. But it wasn't easy, it was difficult. They actually, I feel confident leaving them because I know their mentality is that good.
You know, to stay or to maintain a level of excellence, you can't accept the status quo first and foremost. You have to look at opportunities to grow. Trying to figure out how to do things better or trying to self-reflect requires you to have a group of people that are willing to disagree. Disagreements in here are daily. That back room is wide open so that people hang out and have conversations, and as much as we'll have a Man U fan and a Liverpool fan who are at odds, we'll still have that same argument about U10 development. And I think when you have those type of disagreements, you come to the ability to have positive discussions and come out with, let's try this, and if it doesn't work, let's try this. We've been able to maintain it, number one, by seizing opportunity, examining ourselves on a yearly basis of how we can do things differently. And then I think finally, and probably most importantly, is recognizing you can't take Real Colorado and drop it in Dallas and think it's going to be as successful. We have grown within our community, recognizing what makes us special, what makes our area of Colorado unique. You know, our players have to embrace, they could have snow, sunshine, rain, and wind all in the same day. So I think that's the other most important thing for us is you look at it and you go, our kids, our families, you know, we are unique to Colorado when we embrace it so that we can find success everywhere else.